We made it to the Krome family cemetery. The subdivisions you see are fairly new, but back in the day, what stood on these lands was the Krome family mansion and their cemetery. I believe the mansion's gone due to the subdivision, the building of the subdivisions, but the cemetery's still here. I'm not going to give you guys a huge cemetery. This is just a small little tucked away cemetery in the woods. They left the woods around the cemetery and then just built the subdivisions. But I will give you guys, this is a history about this location and about the ghosts that haunt it. That I can give you. The mansion is probably gone. They had a foundation. I believe that the house was built on top of it from what I've read. So it's a nice little place. Supposed to be 12 graves, but I only see a few. I'm thinking that this place has been robbed or vandalized, but we'll try to find all 12. But it's a family cemetery. And they said all that remains is the Krome family mansion. Yes, like I said, the mansion's gone. I mean, when I go out to the street, you'll see nothing but houses. And if you look through the woods here, this is somebody's backyard. There is no mansion remnants. There's a wall around the cemetery. See? Oh yeah, there's a stone pillar or something, but that's about all that remains of the mansion. I'll show you. I'm not going to go on their property. See, I'll peek through the trees. It's a wall of some kind. So it looks like a wall remains of the mansion itself. And so it's on their property of this home, has a huge backyard and another home next to it. And of course the cemetery sat right next to the mansion. That's how it looks. People said that before the mansion was torn up and after it burned down, they found shackles in the basement, which is believed that since this was a Union state, all free of slavery, some people were still practicing it or selling slaves off to possibly Missouri over the Mississippi, and that's why there were shackles in the basement. At least it was speculation. Maybe a holding pen for slaves just sold to plantation owners. There's a lot of ghostly apparitions here of slaves. And so in other words, it's possible that some of the slaves were abused or had died on this site and their ghosts still haunt this area. People have seen this a black lady. They assume she was a slave here that crosses the field behind me, or actually from the mansion to this cemetery. I'm not sure why, unless there's other burials that transpired here and they're just unmarked. But ghost stories were told after the mansion's burning down. And I'll tell you guys a little about the graves that exist here. There's Charles William Krome, born in 1850, died in 1876. And then it's a couple, so it would be a husband and a wife. Anna Krome, 1821 to 1885. And were married in Germany and so the Krome family came here from Germany. It says right here, Anna and Charles. So this was their monument. They were the mansion owners. Over here we have the pedestal knocked over, the monument. See how it's broke? Somebody pushed it right over. You can tell it was pushed. It's exactly lined up. All the graves are broken in half, missing. There was a set of graves right here. They're all missing. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5, 6. I see about 10 or 11 graves, but there is 1 or 2 that are missing according to the website I have and the historic information. So there's probably been some kids here that have been vandalizing, and they're not taking care of this place. But now that the subdivision's here, you got neighbors who can watch over it and make sure that there's no kids like burning the place down. This cemetery is in Maryville. And they said that this cemetery is actually older than the town itself. And Maryville is quite historic. So is Collinsville, Edwardsville. These are small towns in Illinois, which I'm a small town type of guy, so I feel at home. But this small town cemetery, and it was here before the town. And it says it sits at the 4th hole of the Stonebridge Golf Course. So all this open land behind the cemetery, where the mansion once sat, you can barely see it, was part of the golf course. This is the 4th hole right here. Somewhere in here. But it's all, you know, there's a lot of land for golf, and that's why they built the subdivisions, which is common anywhere. So it says that on the one historical information, there's about 10 stones. Others say 12. And it's hidden by these surrounding trees. We have houses on both sides. Of course, coming in here at night may have been a bad idea if there was houses nearby. And it says right here that William Krome and his wife Anna are laid to rest. This is the most prominent headstone, which is this one you see. And there was a more prominent obelisk headstone that was toppled to the ground that was here. Apparently, this is not the first time it was vandalized, because this looks much newer, and the original one may have been. There's two different types. They make these monuments out of granite, and they polish it, or straight up stone like this. And this one's granite, which makes it a little probably newer. Because these cemeteries date back to the mid-1800s, to the early 1800s out where we're at. So this is old country. But anyhow, Charles and Anna's daughter, Mary is not buried in this cemetery. As a matter of fact, Mary met and married Carl William Fred Lange in 1863. And a defendant of the Langes I read an interview, and he said that Lange platted Maryville in 1900. So the founder of the town had married Mary, thus building the town. She's not buried here, because the town was incorporated in 1902. It was named to honor Lange's wife. That's why it's called Maryville. You get it? But their daughter is not buried here. Anyhow, the large house was right next to the family cemetery for decades. It was demolished as part of the transformation of Keebler Avenue. I've read stories that it was burned down. I don't know. I mean, there's 5 different stories on this place. The cemetery is on Old Keebler Road, which now today the subdivisions line, so it doesn't look as old as like in the days where they had just a dirt road coming out to the mansion. And so, it's supposed to be hired by a couple slaves. People have seen them walking behind the cemetery and the golf course, or in this open field from where the mansion is to the burial ground. Maybe they used to walk down these steps back in the day, and it's just leftover energy to visit the Kromes. But if they were kept here against their will, I doubt that happened. Therefore, maybe it's a vengeful spirit who could have been abused and died on this property, or it's just another local urban legend. All these cars, man. Or it's just another local urban legend where the kids are like, yeah, there's apparitions and shadows and all these things. But the mansion was old. The mansion dated back to the mid-18 to early 1800s. And people did, before they tore out the foundation, apparently, because that's what that is on the golf course. People were finding shackles, chains, cuffs, things of that sort. So it was always speculated that the Kromes had some kind of secrets, and their daughter had married the founder of Maryville. So a little mystery, a little bit of lore, urban legend, possibly ghosts. This is Lord Rick and the Krome family cemetery. We're leaving this cemetery, everyone. I don't know if it's haunted or not, but I do know that this place has years. This place has years of strange tales associated with the ghosts of slaves. I don't know if the Kromes had a secret slave trading operation in the 1800s, or it's just another urban exploration tale. It's another urban legend, like the 7 Gates of Hell. I don't know. But I do know that over the years there's been a lot of sightings of apparitions seen of slaves. And so you have to associate it with the fact that possibly this mansion at one time did have slaves or servants, possibly, and they could be buried on the property, and that's why you're seeing the spirits. But we're going to leave. We're going to head out of here. This is Lord Rick, your founder of Paranormal Ghost Society. Check us out, www.paranormalghostsociety.org. There's a stone stairwell. And then you come out, very easy to miss. But you come out from the cemetery, and look at that. You're on one of Maryville's new subdivision, and continue to come out. Look, you can't even see the cemetery. All new subdivision streets. This all used to be part of a plantation or a large mansion with probably property, and you can't even see it. It's probably better that way to keep it from getting vandalized, but It's just in a group of trees, and I'm not going to give you any addresses. But I will tell you that we came, we saw, no ghost, but it definitely is a historic wonder hidden among the trees. Maryville, Illinois. This is Lord Rick. See, folks, you can barely see it through the woods. It's just all subdivision, but at one time, can you imagine, this was all woods and swamp, and the Kromes lived out in the middle of nowhere. There was no one for miles, and eventually the town was built far more after the cemetery was erected for the family, whose daughter ended up marrying the town's founder. So for more legends such as these, urban legends, monsters, aliens from space, and creepy ghosts that haunt these locations, check out our site, www.paranormalghostsociety.org. We're leaving the Krome family cemetery. The mansion's gone, minus a piece of stone, a stone foundation found lifted up behind it. And it is possible that the ghost of slaves who once came to this area in the early 1800s could still roam where these houses are built today.